Hey there, how's it going? Seth here. In this video, I'm going to show you how automations work inside Stride, where you can find them, and a few examples of how you can put them into action. By the time we're done here, you should have a basic understanding of how to use the automations we've already built for you, as well as how to create your own. So to get to the automations section of Stride, we go to the left sidebar, go right down here to automation, and in this folder right here, you're going to find a bunch of different automations that we've already built for you. By default, they should all be turned off. So none of them are actually active until you turn them on. And just to start from the very beginning, so an automation or a workflow, they're synonymous. We're talking about the same thing when we say automation or workflow. They're basically sets of instructions that you can give Stride to run in the background. You can think of them sort of like a digital assistant. So they handle repetitive tasks automatically, like sending a text when a new lead comes in, or moving a deal to the next stage in your opportunity pipeline, or reminding you to follow up. They can be set up to do a lot of different things. And it's actually quite beautiful how they work. I mean, this is really where a lot of the power of Stride is, if you can wrap your mind around what's going on here and how to make some of these work for you. So to start from just the most rudimentary level, I'm going to create one with you right here, right now. You can follow along with me if you want, or you can just watch on the screen. But I just want you to understand how you can create one of these for yourself if and when you want to. You go up here and click on Create Workflow, and you can either select a template, or we're just going to start from scratch in this case. And first off, if you know what you want to call this thing, you can give it a name right here. It'll just make it easier for you to find in the future. We'll just call this New Lead Notification. The way a lot of these workflows start is with a trigger. So something needs to happen that starts this process going. And you actually don't need to start this with a trigger. Say if you have a different automation, you can use that to send people into this one if you want. But just to make this simple, we're going to start this one with a trigger. And when you click on this, you can scroll down and see there's a lot of different things you can use to act as this trigger. This is basically an action that's happening somewhere that starts this process. So the trigger that I'm going to use for this one is when somebody submits a form on my website. So I'm going to type in form here, and I can find this one that says form submitted. And by default, it's going to put a name in here. You can change this if you want, just to quickly look at the trigger and understand exactly what's happening. Like say if there's a specific form that you're referring to, you could, call it, ABC form was just submitted. And we can also add filters here. If we're talking about a specific form, not every single form, but say once a person gets all the way through step 1 and step 2 of our buying website form, that's when this would trigger. So not just any form, but that specific form. So that's the filter I'm going to put in there, and we'll save that. And we can actually have multiple triggers here if we want. And as we discussed, there are tons of different triggers. You can have it be if a specific phone number calls in, or if somebody calls a specific number in your account. There's tons of different things you can review here if you want. But the next thing we're going to do is create an action. So when this trigger happens, what do we want our system to do? Well, we can have it do one thing or many different things. We can also set up times between these actions if we want to. So for example, if we wanted it to wait for, 1 minute before it does that, we could say wait 1 minute, or we could have it wait 1 hour or 1 day. And we could change this action name to wait 1 minute if that's what we were going to have it do. And there might be different reasons why you may or may not want it to wait. It's up to you. I'm just pointing out that's an option you can put in there. And whenever it's done waiting, now we're going to have it actually do something. And in this case, we're going to say the action is send internal notification. So we're going to say, send an email to a specific user on our team. And we could have it be all users, or we could have it go to a particular user, in which case we would click this open and select which person on our team we want it to go to. So I'll have it go to me. And these things right here, the from name and the from email, if we leave those blank, it'll just be the default name and email of our Stride account that it will be coming from. So I'm just going to leave those blank. We could put a subject line here, and I'm not going to mess with any templates here. I'm just going to write a quick message here. You can do whatever you want and then save it. And very important, you got to go up here and click save up in the upper right-hand corner to actually save the thing. And also very important, if you want this thing to actually work, you need to publish it, because if it's just in draft, it's not really doing anything yet. It's just been created, but it's not active. So we're going to turn this on to publish it and then save it again to make sure it actually saves it as published. And some other things just to be aware of is over here on settings, depending on what type of workflow you're creating, there may be times when if a person enters that workflow once, you never want them to be able to enter that again. And other times, it's fine if they enter the workflow again and again and again. Say, for example, if you have a welcome email that goes out when a person joins your team for the first time, you probably don't want that welcome email to go to them 20 times in the future if they happen to sign up for other things on your email list. In that case, if that's what your workflow is doing, you would probably want to disallow reentry. But if it is perfectly fine, if somebody legitimately does need to be notified again and again, if a certain trigger happens repeatedly, then it should be totally fine. I can tell you that most of the workflows that I have do allow for reentry, but there are times when I turn this off. And it's a similar thing with allowing multiple opportunities. Sometimes it'll make sense to have this off, and sometimes you'll want it on. Just have to use your own critical thinking on that. You can also have it subject to time zones. Say if it matters when this action happens, like if you don't want text to be sent out at 3 in the morning, you can limit when these actions can actually occur. You can specify which time windows they occur in and which days of the week, all that stuff. So just be aware of all these controls. And then also enrollment history. So I just created this thing, so nothing has happened yet. But as people go into this workflow, you can keep track of, hey, who has been through this? And if it's a really long workflow that's happening over the course of like a week, say if there's like a 1-day wait between actions, you can see who is currently in the middle of this enrollment. And then also execution logs, similar thing. You can just see the history of all the executions that have happened here. So we can go back here and we're going to go ahead and save the changes that we made. And now we can see this new lead notification that we just created. And if at any point we want to turn this off or change something about it, we can go ahead and do that as well. Another really important thing I should mention, which I didn't do on this, I probably should have, is once you publish this thing, test it out. Make sure it actually is working and doing what you want it to do, especially if it's super important. It's possible that you could create this thing wrong on accident, maybe just missing a checkbox or setting it up the wrong way. And you could go months, maybe even years, having this thing not even working or having it doing the wrong thing. So it's really important once you create these things to test them, especially if they're very complex and have a ton of different actions in them, just to make sure, does this message say the right thing? Is the message actually being sent? Is it being sent to the right person? All that stuff. Just monitor it, make sure it's working, because these things are extremely powerful and can really run a lot of your business behind the scenes, but only if you set them up correctly and test them and make sure they're actually doing the right thing. So with that extremely basic example of a workflow out of the way, if you want to check out some of the automations that we built for you, and it comes for free with your Stride account, again, just head over to automations and then click on Stride CRM pre-built workflows. You'll come right back to this page, open up any one of these folders, and you'll see all these workflows we built for you. You can open these things up and understand exactly what's happening. So you can see this is a little bit more complex. This particular one is what adds a new card to your opportunity pipeline. We have a separate video on opportunity pipelines and how those all work. But in this automation, as you can see, there are several different triggers. So there's several different things that could add a person to this workflow. And these triggers are mostly tied to different tags that are added to a contact, either when they are bulk imported into your Stride system, or if you just manually add the tag one by one within a contact. And those tags are cold call, text, or website, or this get your offer form, or we've got the RVM tag, the mail tag, and you could even add more triggers here if you wanted to. You can totally feel free to monkey around with the ones that we've already created. This is just the way that we set it up. And you can see the wait times that are added in here. If you wanted to delete this, you could. The reason we put this 1-minute wait in here is in case you might happen to accidentally add a tag to somebody and then you delete it, it would give you a minute to delete the thing before it actually sends them through this automation. And you can assign it to a user, and then it ultimately adds a new card to your opportunity pipeline, which again, if you ever want to check that out, is right over here. If you click on opportunities, so all the different cards that you see on this pipeline here, the reason they're there is because they went through that automation that I just showed you, where a tag was added to their name and then it added them right here. And again, we've got a separate video explaining what this is all about. Be sure to check that out. This is another important thing to understand. But again, just going back to automations. Automations are an amazing thing that can take a little bit of time to wrap your head around what's going on and how to create them. But the more you can understand, the more you can do. And this is really how you get your business to sort of operate behind the scenes. Even when you're sleeping, different things can be happening for your business, keeping the needle moving forward. So this is definitely a good thing to get familiar with. And another cool thing you can do, say if you have this vague idea of what you want an automation to do, but you just have no idea how to build the thing, You can always use this build using AI button and then just explain what you're trying to do, and it can help build that automation for you by bringing in the triggers and the actions that it knows about. So you don't even necessarily need to know of all the different possible triggers and actions. You just have to explain what you want, and it can try to build that for you. And if it doesn't get it perfect, you can always monkey around with it after it puts together its best guess at what you're trying to do. When you do have a chance, be sure to go through all of these automations. Just open them up, try to understand what's going on and whether or not you want to turn them on. That's the overview on automations and workflows. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you again soon.